Okay, so we are still on concepts in the geometry realm. We've talked about quadrilaterals, and a quadrilateral is a special type of polygon. So in order to better understand that concept, we need to know what a polygon is. Well, a polygon is a closed figure formed by 3 or more line segments called sides. So it's super important that we understand that they are 3 or more line segments. So anything that is closed, it's considered a polygon. And you need to know the terms for these polygons. We have special types of polygons. A polygon with 3 sides, you should all know, is a triangle. A polygon with 4 sides is a quadrilateral. That's what we just went over last night and what we did in class today. Now, a polygon with 5 sides, most of you should know, is a pentagon. You need to know these terms because if you are asked to draw a pentagon, you need to make sure that you have 5 sides. If you're asked to draw a 6-sided figure, that's a hexagon. 7 sides is a heptagon. 8 sides is an octagon. 9 is a nonagon. And 10 is a decagon. This year, we probably won't go over a hexagon, but it is important to understand the names of all those polygons. Now, there is a formula to calculate this, but when we're talking about the sum of the interior angles, so we are now talking about the sum of the interior. Remember, interior means inside, okay? So the degrees of the interior angles can be determined by however many triangles you can draw in that polygon. So I want you to look at something and you're going to notice a pattern. So a triangle, it has 3 sides. Okay, there's one triangle there. And the sum of their interior is 180. So let's take a look at this quadrilateral, okay? We know that a quadrilateral has 4 sides, okay? If I take this quadrilateral and I draw a diagonal, look, I've got one triangle here. Okay, let me switch my colors and show you. I also have another triangle here, meaning there's 2 triangles. That's how we got the 360. That's how we know the sum of the angles is 360. Well, that pattern continues. When I have a pentagon, there's 5 sides. I'm able to draw within this pentagon, I'm able to draw 3 triangles. Let me show you. You can draw it a couple different ways. Here's one. Okay, that leaves me there with actually a quadrilateral, and I can split this in 2. Here's 2 triangles, and finally, I have my 3rd triangle. So think about what's happening. Every time I add a triangle to my shape, I'm adding 180 degrees to it. Same thing with a hexagon. If there's 6 sides, well, what is the number of triangles? 4. So when you look at the number of sides, right, and I subtract 2, I then times that by 180, and I get my degrees of the interior angles. So that is a formula. 180 times n minus 2, where n is the number of sides. That is a formula that you're going to come across in geometry. We're not going to use it necessarily here, okay? This is a formula here, and you can cross this out. We're not going to go into it, but you will see it again. So it is good to be familiar with it. So this brings us to what we really need and what we're going to really work with within this unit is congruent polygons. A congruent polygon has the same, and when I say same, I mean the same exact. So it would be in your best interest to write exact same size and shape. They are only congruent if they have the same size and shape. What that means is all corresponding parts, their size and their angles, are congruent. We do have another type of polygon that you might see, which is similar. So you need to add this in. Similar polygons have the same shape, okay, but different sides. So their sizes are different. And we're going to work within this unit on transforming polygons and creating new polygons that are either congruent or similar. So let's go understand a congruency statement. If you look at this, I've got AB and DE. Do you see how those have those markings? I want you to understand something here. When polygons are congruent, we write what's called a congruency statement. Corresponding angles and sides have to be congruent. These markings here that you see, that tells me AB is congruent to DE. It also tells me, see how there's 2 here? It tells me BC matches EF. And then there's 3 here. Okay, that tells me that AC matches DF. And there is some sort of order to this, okay? So I'll wait for the bell, guys. Okay, so we also want to take a look at our angles. We have angle A and angle D are the same. And if you notice something in this statement, see how A comes first and D comes first? That is important to understand in the order. Same thing. See how B has 2? Well, B second, and then E is second. And then finally, we've got C with 3 markings and F with 3 markings. Well, there is something to be said about the order when you see the order here, okay? So if we were to go identify congruent parts, you're going to hear me say this a lot. When in doubt, draw it out. So I've got a triangle, and they told me it's angle W. See how W came first, okay, right here. And then I've got X coming next. Well, if we go draw the other triangle, that bottom corner was W. Well, what came first in the green triangle? Q. So that's what needs to go there. Well, when you look at it, X came next and X went here. So guess what needs to get drawn next? R. Then finally, Y is last and S is last, and they need to sit in the same spot. So now that I have those statements, I can figure out, okay, so since we have W and Q in the same spot, see W's here, Q's here. They want to know what is congruent to W. Well, that would be angle Q. They want to know what is congruent to angle X. Do you see it yet? Good, angle R. Then what's congruent to angle Y? Angle S. Now it's important to understand the next part. We are looking at the line segment. We're looking at W to X. So if we match that, do you see how W and X are right next to each other here? Well, let's go look here. Q and R, Q to R, match that. But notice what I have here. You must put this on top because that means line segment. So what matches XY? RS and then SQ, okay? So I want you to try this one on your own, but when in doubt, draw it out. If you don't remember what a rhombus is, go look at your notes from last night. Okay, so given congruent parts and given certain measurements, I can find other measurements. So if we take a look really quick at my congruent statement, that's what this is, okay? So that's our congruency statement. So given that, I can then find the measure of angle, whatever we're looking for. So what is equal to the measure of angle V? Well, look at the statement. V is sitting at the end. What else is sitting at the end? R. So if I take a look, there's angle V. Well, what did it match in the other one? It matched R. R was 129, so that means V is 129. Okay, so let's just put 129 there for V. We know it. Well, then it wants to know the measure of angle Q. Well, let's go look. Q and U are sitting in the same position in my congruency statement. So if I look at my two images, I know U and Q. Look what it told me U was. U's 21, therefore Q is 21. So let's just write 21 in for Q. Now it wants the measure of angle P. Well, let's look here. Measure of angle P is in this triangle. Well, what do we know about a triangle? That the sum of their angles adds up to 180. So I have P, I have 129, I have 21. That should equal 180. When I go and solve, I find that the measure of angle P is 30. Okay, let's go to our side lengths now. If you notice, they want to know what PQ is, okay? I'm looking for PQ. Look at the congruency statement. What matches PQ? TU, okay? Well, let's go look at our shapes. PQ is here. There's no measurement there, but we know it's congruent to TU. So if I look at TU, that says it's 21 feet. So guess what PQ is? 21 feet. Well, our last one, they're wanting to know UV. Go look at my other triangle. That matches QR. So if I see, this is what I'm looking for in this triangle. There's no measurement there, but it corresponds, meaning it has the same size as RQ. Therefore, it is 13 feet. And notice what I have here, ladies and gentlemen. When it's a degree, that goes to an angle measure. When it's a side length, I have feet. You must have those written down. I want you to try 8 on your own. I want to see how you understand it. And then be prepared to complete this in class tomorrow. You will see this more than once, so make sure that you are prepared with questions of what you don't understand. So ladies and gentlemen, a lot's been thrown at you, and some of us are struggling to maintain similar grades from last quarter. So please, 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 if you're not understanding something, ask. Stay on top of your work. Use your notes. Go back and rewatch a video 2 or 3 times. There's no one said you can't do that.